All right. So taking a look and getting really specific about some website feedback. Looking at BOLDSwim's website, what I first noticed is that there's a beautiful picture of the swimwear, so you can immediately tell that's what this website's about. But it does take some work to find that first call to action or that first button that says, like, here's the thing you can do on this website. It blends in, it's about halfway down the page. You'll see it scroll by right about there under the Be Bold, Be You. And what visitors need, to Jennifer's point, they have short attention spans, so they need to have just really clear, visible actions to take. They come to your site, they are like, yes, I want to stay here, what can I do next? And if we make them work for it, they're probably likely to get distracted and move on to something else. So giving them that clear call to action helps them understand how to get started. So something you might consider is using a solid fill button, so it's more visually prominent and can stand out against that beautiful image. And you might also consider ways to present the action in different placements so visitors can easily find it. So you might have it just show above the fold. Because this is a very long image, you might have it stick as you scroll so they can see that image and that action. And then as they scroll down that page, that action is always available to them. So when they're ready to get started, they can click on it. Next up, looking at the collection page. The collection page has a lot happening on it. There's beautiful images, it's providing some sizing information, it's even letting her add to cart straight from this page and featuring some specific products. And so the risk with all of that is that we might lose her attention or make it harder for her to figure out what she actually wants to take a closer look at. So having these different product images or different styling of the images and placement of the buttons can be a little bit confusing. Ideally, she would be able to just like scan her eyes horizontally across the page and see 3 images, the 3 titles, and be able to clearly understand what the differences are between these options. So you might consider using a consistent product image size and style so that she can do that horizontal scanning. So for example, having consistent, all the images could be product images, or all the images can be lifestyle images. They could all be the same height, for example. And then having it be visually aligned so that the prices, the sizes, and the add to cart actions are all on the same line. So she can look across and say, okay, this one, all 3 of these options are available in medium. So I know I can consider any of these options. Or let me take a quick look at all the prices, and they're always in the same horizontal line, as well as those add to cart buttons. Okay, I'm ready to go. Let me have those actions be in parallel. Oh, I got a question from Erin. I've talked about above the fold multiple times. Are there key pieces of information that every site should include above the fold? Yes, let's go back to the home page as a good example. So every home page or any landing page should be able to answer 3 questions. And what I mean by above the fold is before she starts scrolling. So in those first 2 to 3 seconds, she's going to have an impression formed, and we want her to be able to understand 3 things. What is this website about? Are they selling something? What are they selling? Is this website offering something that I need? Either something that addresses a pain point I have or addresses an aspiration that I have. And then a third one is, why should I go with this particular company to achieve that aspiration or to solve that problem? So if you can answer what the site is, why they should go with this site, and what problem you're solving above the fold, you'll be in really good shape for those first impressions. Thanks for your question, Erin. All right, now looking at the product detail page. Similar to the product listing page or the collection page, there's a lot of information on this page before she's given something specific to do. So she's given some information about availability. She's given some information about how many people are looking at this page, when it's going to be delivered, how much it costs, what the sizes are, how to decide what size, all of that before she's given the option to add to cart. All that information is important, but we want to make sure that we only give her the information above the primary action that's going to be essential for making that add to cart decision. And if she's not ready to add to cart, she'll keep scrolling and she'll keep finding that information that she really needs. We want to simplify her decision as much as possible so she doesn't need to know how many are left in stock. She doesn't need to know when it will be delivered. She just needs to know what size is going to be the best fit for her to be able to take that action. And this helps shift her from a browsing perspective of let me look at all my options for swimwear to the purchasing mindset of let me make those decisions about what I need to do to take that product off the shelf and stick it in my cart. So what we typically will do with this is we will prioritize the order of the information on the page so that any non-decision information is below that primary action on the page. So like the add to cart button. So you can, that urgency messaging is really exciting and can actually really help with conversion, but we don't want it to get in the way of her making those essential decision points before adding to cart. So placing it just below the add to cart can be really effective because she'll see it and it will nudge her, but she doesn't have to get disrupted by it or have to really pay attention to it. It will just have that sort of like nuance and nudge to take that final action. And the delivery information similar. And the real-time visitor information may also be something may not be important for her. So it might be something worth testing. If we remove that, does that change her behavior? Is she motivated or not by how many people are actually on the website? And is that really nudging her to add to cart and to order? And then looking a little further down that page, she's got 4 different buttons. So she's got the add to cart button, which is black and bold, which is great because it's visually taking your attention. A trick that I love to do is to sit back in my chair and squint my eyes and ask like what thing is hopping off the page. And this page is passing that test. The add to cart button is the most prominent thing when you squint. And so it's drawing her attention subconsciously to take that action. So that's great. But some of these other elements are drawing attention as well. They're presented as buttons to add to your wish list, to add to compare, or to buy it now. And visually, this may just be creating some friction and causing her to stop and have to really think about what she wants to do here. And anytime we delay her action, we risk her getting distracted, her having to go answer the phone or step away to do something for work. So we just want to keep it really focused, simplify her decisions as much as possible, and really give her clear suggested next actions. So some recommendations here would be to choose one primary call to action on the product page, and then either removing or just choosing a different design for these other ones. So for example, the add to wish list or add to compare, if you're seeing that she is engaging in this, if you've got, first of all, I'd recommend having analytics tracking on it to make sure she's using them. And then if she is, see if you can de-emphasize it in the design, but still make it available to her. So even just removing the border here, you can still have that prominent add to wish list with the heart, and she'll recognize that she can interact with that, but it's not going to detract from the add to cart as much as it does if it's a button. And another test that you could consider is whether the buy it now is actually giving her an option that's important to her, or if it's giving that friction of having to decide, do I want to add to cart or do I want to buy it now? Sometimes what we see in testing is simplifying it to one choice and optimizing one path to purchase is actually just a better experience overall.